Okay. Okay. So this is the artistic case. I'm going to make the business case for 100x Ouroboros in this bull cycle. This is the artistic case for way more than that. This is the artistic case for, right, 100x turns into 1000x with artistic zeal and meme culture flying out of the Ouroboros meme machine, right? And so we easily turn the fundamental analysis of 100x into 1000x, into 10,000x, and for me, I'm looking at 16,000x because I'm looking at the Aave comparable, but I'll back into the fundamental valuation, not the charts. I'm not going to look at the charts because crypto connoisseur, shout out to you. Obviously, as he said, the charts can lie. But I do think that his 81, I don't even know what he did, but he looked at the chart and put some fib extension on, and it was up to $81, right? $81 Ouroboros, which is, I think, like 2,200x from here, something like that. And my long-term forecast of 16,000x comes from the Aave comparable of over 6 years, you know, and points to assuming, you know, some cap supply assumptions about ORX, like a $320 ORX. But that's a long term in the future, and I'll show you how I'm thinking about how I or someone else might value Ouroboros, not just the protocol. Yeah, the protocol, but also the tokens. Okay, but artistically, unlimited potential. Crypto, freaking crazy stuff has happened, right? And so Ouroboros has a lot of potential price-wise. Okay. Literally, this is napkin math. I mean, it's beyond napkin math. So, and it's really wacky. But here it is. This is how I do it. And so I'm doing evaluation, and I did consult with Grok a little bit, and I also consulted with some other augmented intelligence systems, but this is what I was thinking anyway. So my question is, like, in terms of valuing an early stage enterprise, crypto enterprise, decentralized protocol like Ouroboros, I asked the question because I know in a borrowing and lending protocol like Aave or MakerDAO or Compound, which are some of the comparables, there are others too now, but those are the old school comparables to start looking at. So what I know is that total value locked, my question to Grok was, what's the multiple of the total value locked of a protocol like Ouroboros that has A, B, C, and D features, right? So that was my original question to myself and also to Grok. And so basically, Aave has traded in terms of its market cap anywhere between 0.5 to 2 times its own total value locked. Right now, the total value locked is approximately 25 billion. And I don't know what the price is, but it's somewhere between 0.5x and 2x the price versus the total value locked, right? So that's one sort of comparable, right? And so we'll use that as a starting point. somewhere between 0.5% to 2x, just in terms of total value locked. But there are other indicators of value that we would need to look at with Ouroboros, because there's total value locked that points to protocol revenue, right? And the revenue, particularly if you've got diverse revenue streams, there's like three potentially in Ouroboros. One is like lending fees. Another, and it's small now, but with total value locked and new collateral assets, we're going to exponentially grow total value locked and then protocol revenue. And we're going to have diverse income streams. We're going to have lending. We're going to have stable coins as service. So we'll see how that works, but it's going to bring revenue into ORX. And we're going to have, it's the whole staking rewards or governance token incentives. So with the new staking platform, there's going to be diverse revenue streams. So protocol revenue with Ouroboros is going to be healthy, assuming we continue to grow. The next thing around valuation has to do with market conditions, like where are we in the cycle? We're like where we are for Ouroboros at the cycle is right at the bottom of the Titan-X, versus Ethereum ratio. ORX is beating, in ratio terms, Titan-X, but we're near the bottom of the cycle and we're about to enter into altcoin season. So it's a good time to be measuring total value lock, protocol revenue, market conditions, and also not just in the bull cycle, but protocols like ORX, which also have buy and burns, but also have a sort of a perma market strategy, which is borrowing and lending protocols operate even in the bear season, right? So comparables, Aave, Market Maker DAO, Compound, those are the OG ones. Those are the benchmarks, right, that we're going to look to. But the reason why I'm going to give Ouroboros a higher multiple than these is because of like the stablecoin business cycle. I don't know if I would call it a super cycle, but I would say the stablecoin like mania, right? Stablecoin mania everywhere, with regulatory certainty, at least for fiat-backed stablecoins in the US, and current freedom for collateral-backed stablecoins like Ouroboros, right? I think that I'm going to give like a premium for my valuation of Ouroboros because of the stablecoin mania and super cycle and huge capital coming in looking for stablecoin. And Ouroboros has a first of its kind product that we're going to see roll out over the next period of time, stablecoin as service, right? And we'll see how that works. So the fact of Ouroboros stablecoin centric protocol and the scaling model through a modular sort of decentralized system that can onboard multiple new collateral assets and communities. Like normally for an early stage, like a first cycle, there's higher risk, right? And so a more traditional valuation will like lower the multiple because it's higher risk. And so instead of like 0.2 to 2x, like a traditional model would value it more based on total value, like 0.3 to 1x. Like, so 0.3 of the total value lock might be the ORX. But because of where we are in the cycle and because of the second T, the first T is total value lock. The second is token economics. and speculation and diamond hand holder crew. I'm not going to get there yet. That's where that the token economics of ORX have never been seen before, and also the leverage on leverage on leverage with large percent of supply being held by believers who shadowy and the Ouroboros distribution process, we have screened ourselves in and out, right? And so now what we have left is like a core group of holders who are holding, investing, and investing our time, energy, money in the long-term viability of the protocol through the DAO and through like exponential growth, but also through holding, staking, locking, and using the ORX token as it was designed as a, so I've transitioned from total value lock to token economics, but using the equity of holding a fee sharing token in a growing exponential growth platform as a value driver, right? And I'll get to that. So, okay. So how do we get to 100x? So 100x in price, which I don't really like to do, but let's do 100x in price, because let's say it's 3 cents now. That means a $3 ORX token. And I'm gonna guess that the total cap supply after all the early claims, and let's say it's approximately 250 million ORX. I actually think over time it will be less. I think it's going to be more like 150 million, because there's going to be burn pressure. There's going to be early claiming pressure, and so I think we're going to have not only a cap supply, but a deflating supply. So I'm assuming, for very conservative estimation of number of units, so 250 million times 3 gets us at $750 million market cap. $750 million market cap, assuming 250 million tokens and a $3 price. If we back into that number, 750 million at a 0.5x multiple, we would need $375 million total value locked. So about 100x of what we have now. And so all of that depends on onboarding of new collateral assets that are bigger than TitanX and DragonX, that have larger market caps and larger communities of people that are going to use the service, that are going to say, I don't know what the assets are going to be, but it could be Ethereum on Ethereum. It could be Sonic if we go to Sonic. It could be Shadow if we go to Sonic, right? It could be, I don't know. It could be, we'll see what's going to happen. So that's the mystery is, but I would say that based on total value locked, 400 million, 100x from where we are now is doable if we onboard 3, 5, 7, 10 new collateral assets and communities, right? And the scaling happens horizontally, really, right? And all of that feeds back through fees and revenue sharing back to the ORX token. So that has to do with the speculation and the diamond hand holder crew. But so from a more traditional valuation perspective, if we get over 300 million of total value locked, I could see us doing 100x from here. If that's the valuation method, which I just want to do it, right? But it's not really how I think about it, but I did want to do that exercise because I know that's how more traditional evaluators will look at it. They'll look at total value locked, protocol revenue, market conditions, market comparables. Where does it fill in? Where does it fit into that? And so where it fits in is, I think it's a doable 100x in that very conservative, more traditional model. Okay, now the other model that I used for myself is like a combination of token economics, the speculative leverage on leverage on leverage. So if we get like a Ethereum, a $15,000 to $20,000 Ethereum this cycle, Titan X is going to be killing it, which is leverage on Ethereum. And ORX, which is leverage on Titan X, is going to be killing it even more. So from the speculation, leverage on leverage on leverage, I like some sort of crazy exponential run for ORX. It doesn't mean that it's going to stay there, but crazy things can happen in these exponential bull cycles where, you know, if Ethereum is going up vertically, you know, and we've got Titan X and we have buy and burns in the Titan X ecosystem, and we've got ORX with a buy and burn. The token economics are the other thing that I don't think we've ever seen. So I think that the leverage on leverage on leverage that we have with ORX and Titan X and Ethereum, we've never seen it before. So that's why the token economics and the leverage play is way better than Aave, Compound, and MakerDAO. Way better. Those are all VC tokens. Even though they started with small teams, it's all like VC backed, right? And that's a whole different game, okay? And so when we talk about this second piece, the token economics, we've never seen anything like Ouroboros in terms of cap supply, deflationary, leverage on leverage on leverage with a diamond hand holder crew. Okay, and we'll see how diamond hand holders, like when we get to $3 ORX, we'll see how many people hold it and how many sell it. But that's natural. That's like what needs to happen. Like, you know, and we'll see what the volume is and what the liquidity is, because right now we're very low liquidity. But I think part of the strategy for the staking platform that's being launched soon is to build the liquidity depth, you know, and to expand the liquidity pools, right? And to make ORX and USDX accessible to the world. But we'll see how that all plays out. So let's assume that we have 250 million ORX tokens by the end of the distribution phase. Okay, 100x would be that $3, would be a $750 million market cap. Now it could be, the supply might be a way less. So this may be, but let's use this supply of 200. It may be more. It may be 400 million. We'll see. It could be that there's tons of diamond hand holders. But I think there's going to be a lot of people early claiming when Ouroboros and Titan X and Ethereum are pumping. There are going to be people early claiming and taking profits, and that's good. That's part of the gamified distribution, so that it's not a last person standing thing. What it is like, who are the believers that what we have in the ORX token is a long-term equity. When we hold and we stake and we lock ORX, it's equity, and it gives us fee sharing, revenue share for this growing protocol. So the token economic speculation could be way higher than the 100x, that the more, it could be way lower, right? It could be that there is no alt season. It could be that ORX doesn't attract, attention and adoption, in new markets. But I think what we've demonstrated is the ability to do it in a micro market in Titan X and Dragon X, and I think what Shadowy and this team is going to is going to prove, we're going to punch over weight, and we are going to compete with a scalable protocol that's high integrity, fee sharing, and has a diamond hand holder group that believes and is going to invest in the long-term health and well-being of the protocol. So that's what I'm hoping. And if we get all those things, so Crypto Connoisseur, now he said $81 is just a fib extension, charts lie, right? And it's too early to fully chart this. As Shadow will say, you can't really chart these things because it's really about the valuation. It's about the value of the protocol. It's the total value locked. It's the revenue. It's a holder group. It's the token economic scheme, right? And so Shadowy, I agree with that. That's why I want to, value it based on like the value as opposed to the chart. But Crypto Connoisseur is like looking at it and his charts are saying $81. Now, I think that's like a 2200x from where it was. Like $81 was 2200x, 2200x from, I don't know, 2 cents or 3 cents or wherever it was. That's doable in a speculative exponential run that is a stable coin super cycle where Ouroboros becomes one of the darlings of the real yield seekers, right? It's very possible that Ouroboros could be a darling, could be a magnet for not just ETH whale investors, though whales are going to love Ouroboros. Once there's liquidity and once people see that there's a way to make yield, real revenue, and fee sharing, I think the ORX token is going to be very scarce and very sought after, and we're going to need it. There's going to be a demand equation for Ouroboros. We're going to need it to stake it, lock it, to get whatever rewards are attached to that. We're going to see over the next period of time, and those rewards are just going to keep on expanding and contracting with the market, right? Okay. So in that case, I could see with 250 million, a $30, I could see 1,000. If we have an extended bull cycle that goes into 2026, and that in some ways Ouroboros becomes not a perma bull, but a perma cycle token and protocol, meaning that we use it 24/7, 365. It's like my cosmic banking on the blockchain app, right? Where I'm holding equity in it, I'm staking it, I'm making passive income in it, and there's ways to keep on growing total value locked. There's ways to keep on growing revenue, and that'll be for the DAO, right? That won't be just for Shadowy. Shadowy has done the heavy lifting of the code and the platform and the business scaling model, but it's going to be up to the DAO to really drive long-term sustainable growth, right? And that's where I think we have a lot of potential to be a 6, 7, 8 year overperformer, even more. If we can establish true governance long term, I could see the ORX token and protocol extending into the future. So Could we see a $7.5 billion market cap this cycle, a $30 ORX? I have no idea. I am confident that we could see the 100x, both in the speculative. I gave the 100x just in my own napkin math. Okay, I gave it an extra 3x multiplier for an extra 3x over the 100x. So I gave it a $9 ORX speculation because of the diamond hand holder group, the cap supply, the demand for the product. And these are all ifs. Nothing is guaranteed, but I could see easily a $3 ORX with an extended cycle. And I could see triple that, a $9 ORX. I don't know why, I just could. Right? A $30, I don't see it yet. That means like a $7.5 billion ORX. I could see that in the next cycle. I can't see it in this cycle, but that's where I'm going to be looking to other people that know better than I do. But anyway, that's my business case for 100x Ouroboros. And that really is the ORX price that's based on, fundamentals, basically. If we add the token economics and the speculation and the possibility of an ETH bull cycle, the numbers can be astronomical, right? But that's not what I'm betting on. I'm betting on the fundamentals and the long-term potential. And I also believe over the next months, it's going to be very volatile. The next 3 months between now and when, actually most of the supply will come out by early 2026. Most of the ORX supply will be out. And I think that's when we'll have a better feel. Either we'll be on the tail end of a blow off top, or we'll be somewhere in the middle of an extended bull cycle. Which, at least for Ouroboros, that's what I see happening. I also see it happening for TitanX. I also see it happening for Pulse Chain, mostly because I think that TitanX and all of the buy and burns, including the ORX one, are somehow going to be extending the bull cycle for the TitanX ecosystem. I think they're going to be utilized later in the cycle, if they're utilized at all. I know ORX will be utilized. I don't know about the other ones, but if they're utilized, I think they'll be utilized later in the cycle to like extend the bull cycle, soften the landing into the bearish times, and help to overperform in the bearish parts of the market, right? And that's why I am bullish long term on the TitanX ecosystem, especially with all the capital in Ethereum, and then at least for Ouroboros, the capital it's held in TitanX, right? And so I can imagine Ouroboros buy and burn being utilized at the right time for the health of the protocol, right, and for the benefit of ORX holders, right? So yeah, that's the business case for 100x. The business case for like it's a dud is always possible, right? It's always possible. This is an incredibly high risk business case, but it's why the exponentials are so dramatic. It's because the higher the risk, the higher the return. And so if we can achieve the fundamentals and the speculative zeal that I think is possible. All right, this is under 30 minutes. That's great. I wish there were some questions. I see a few people. Anybody who's listening want to come in and ask me or tell me something, tell me I'm wrong, or give me another projection or something? Any dialogue? Because otherwise I have to disappear. I have nothing else to say. Okay. So let's see, anything. Oh, yeah. So there's a secret weapon that Ouroboros has. Um, and it lives right now in the Telegram group, which is like, these are public forums. Anyone can access the best alpha. It really is. The best intelligence about Ouroboros is fully accessible to everyone. I started studying over a year ago, over a year and a half ago now. All of the best information, there is absolute symmetry of intelligence and information if we follow in the Telegram. There are a few people. I've been privileged to participate in a few of the early stage test nets. That's just because I'm in dialogue. But even with that, I don't get to see anything until it's ready to launch. Like, right? Nobody, we all know the same amount, right? That's amazing. And the access to the developer in the Telegram is every day. So, like, I don't know what I was saying. I lost my, oh, yeah, there's a secret sauce and a secret weapon. It's not a weapon. It's a secret sauce and it's a magnet. And I'm going to start calling it out for my ORX crew, which is like, there's such a good, like, what's going to happen in terms of education and onboarding is Shadowy is going to, how he does it, he's going to document everything. Shadowy communicates through words and code. So that's what we can expect. The code, the user experience, the utility, the returns, like, it's going to speak for itself. It'll be world class. It's going to compete with the best borrowing and lending and yield platforms out there, right? That's where Shadowy and the platform is going to punch above weight, right? So what's going to happen is he's going to not control, but yeah, control good information through documentation and through, educating people like us that are in the Telegram to educate others, to educate and onboard and help move beyond PvP, person versus person. Yeah, of course, the trading game is PvP, but not the investment game. The investment game is like network effect. It's community. It's building trust in a product and in a culture, right? The network effect isn't PvP. PvP is a trading game. This isn't a trading game. This is like, getting access to an early stage enterprise and holding equity and fee sharing token and utilizing the utility and utilizing stable coins, right? Utilizing stable coins, USDX, to stabilize volatile assets at scale. That's amazing, right? That is going to be free from regulatory oversight, not forever, but how Ouroboros is set up, there's no issuer. It's me interacting with the smart contract. It's perfect setup. As long as we stay away from payment rails, we can do pools with USDT and USDC that connect with payment rails, but USDX, in my humble opinion, doesn't want to touch payment rails anywhere. It's on-chain, 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 floating, stable. It's a stabilizing asset, right? It's floating and it's collateral backed, multi-collateral backed. Okay. What was I going to say? Oh, the secret sauce. So what's going to happen is Shadowy is going to control messaging and really educate using code and then documentation. Like, read the documentation. I read that foundation, the Ouroboros foundation documents, the first day it was there. I read it 10 times. I was like, wow. Okay. And we're going to start to see shadowy showing up on X again, educating about the staking platform and maybe even about new collateral assets. We'll see. And new deployments. We'll see. But he's going to be educating. And the secret, it's not weapon, but the magnet is there's like a meme machine in Ouroboros. It's a really smart, like, um, um, user group, like community of like believers who are smart and fun and challenging and funny and really are in the dialogue. And there are some killer memes, right? And there are some really good, like humble, like Gorilla. Gorilla is like a secret meme god, you know? Salvega, right? He's got the best. I mean, the memes and the gifs and the this and the that, right? And so I believe that this, like the secret magnet, the weapon that's going to really win over X, is a combination of shadowy education plus indigenous organic memes that fly out of the Telegram group onto X and to wherever else, including TikTok, right? TikTok and YouTube and blah, blah, blah. But right now, because of X and its place in crypto, I actually think that people now are short circuiting all the other platforms and going, like my people who are like getting back interested, for example, in Pulse Chain, they were Pulse Chain sacrifices. They're like coming straight to X to look. They're not going to YouTube anymore. There's too much crap on YouTube. There's too much AI on YouTube. There's too much, like, I don't know. So what they're doing is newcomers are coming straight to X, I think. And that's why I think the way that we in Ouroboros holders can start to multiply the X's, we turn the 10X into 100X, the 100X into 1,000X, the 1,000X is to 10,000X. Literally is no sellers or very few sellers and lots of buyers. More buyers and sellers as price go up, right? And the more that we have diamond hand holders and a magnet in the form of a product, and us being able to memify why Ouroboros is so great. Part of it, and the best memes currently, there will be others, but the best memes coming out, in my opinion, of the Telegram are like the shadowy memes. Right? And this has nothing to do with shadowy. These are the meme creators. This isn't shadowy. This is just an example of the human projecting our art and our memification onto the dev and saying, hey, we've got the killer dev. Let's promote him. Let's memify it. Let's honor like the mystique of shadowy. That's going to be killer. Right? And so I'm going to call out the ORX crew. And there's also a very like Darko, for example. Darko is the president. Darko is willing to fight for bags. Darko is like willing to get out there and do anything for his and our bags. We want that fight for our bags mentality, right? That's why he got elected the president, even though he can be abrasive. Right on. Me too, right? We need to challenge authority. But we want to find a way to do it in a constructive, collaborative, good way so that we don't hurt anybody in the process. Yeah, Gorilla, I don't even know these, but I know them in the Telegram space. Smart, funny, in the game together, right? That's how you exponentially grow the culture, which is the best memes grow out of culture. They don't get imprinted on culture. That's how sort of VC memes happen. And so, yeah, the biggest memes, are VC memes, but that doesn't make them viral. Like the best viral, like true, authentic memes are community memes. And we don't need like the ORX shadowy memes to go crazy viral. If we grow our user base from 1,000 to 10,000. Oh, no. 1,000 to 10,000, which should be easy. That's 100x too, based on the network effect, right? If we 10x our user base and our total value locked, that's about 100x, right? If we get 100,000 users, right? Exponentials, network effect. That's where culture combined with the technology, that's where I suspect the Ouroboros culture is going to trade at multiples above the fundamentals because of the culture and the token economics. That's just my hypothesis. I'm like happy to be wrong. But this is the bullish business case and hypothesis. I've looked at it from 3 or 4 different angles, and I see 100x this cycle if Ethereum and Titanx play along, right? And if not, then I see us 10xing. I see us lapping Titanx and lapping Ethereum dramatically, just like we've been doing, but even more so. So even if we don't get the bullish Ethereum and Titanx exponential run, which I think we will, but even if we don't get that, I think what we're going to see is Ouroboros outperforming the competition based on fundamentals. And this idea that we have a diamond hand crew and that even in the bearish times, there are going to be people wanting to hold, stake, and lock ORX. All right. All right, I'm going to go carve. Hold on. Jamal. Oh, yeah, this is what we would do. Okay. My son and his best friend are planning a trip to Jamaica, to the AI villa, Rasta village in the mountains, right? AI, that villa in Jamaica, I don't know. Part of it is I've always wanted to go to the Jamaica mountains. Yeah, of course the beaches, but I like the mountains because that's where, you know, mountain culture is. I like beach. I love beach culture too, but in the tropics, I also like to go up into the mountains and explore the mountains and the streams and the caves and the mountain farms and mountain villages. Amazing. So yeah, so we have friends now in Jamaica. I mean, I do have friends in Jamaica from Bronx and Brooklyn, but now I have an internet crypto friend who's got a killer, like, Airbnb. So anyway, my son is just texting me, and I told him I couldn't, I couldn't go. He and his friend wanted to go October 17th, and I had to look at my ORX, vesting schedule, and I have ORX coming out anywhere between October 15th, which is I think day one, 365 days, all the way through I think February. And then because I've been doing USDX staking, I've got vesting 365 days out, right? So that's why for me, ORX becomes a 24/7, 365 banking on the blockchain project, right? Because I no matter the bullish or the bearish, I still have ORX tokens coming out, vesting and maturing, and I like that, right? All right. Peace out, y'all.